Hey, new day, new hat. Today we're answering some Reddit questions from the r/photography sub. Don't know if you've been there, but there's a lot of questions. So the most common question I see is, what camera should I buy? And I think the only answer is none. There's too many photographers, give up. I think the biggest tip is just to buy something used. Try to get something with interchangeable lenses. That'll pretty much put you at a good starting point. And get out there and shoot, because like maybe you hate photography, but you'll learn what you like and what you dislike as you're kind of fleshing out and getting more experience as a photographer with that entry-level gear. So some general rules there for, yeah, is a good one. Do we still correct nipples coming through clothing still in 2023? I mean, oh, gross! That's up to the client, I guess. Like the model that you have. But I say no. I mean, it's the human body, so like, who cares? You know, I'm very much you know, work with the lighting, work with the angles. Otherwise, I love seeing people as they naturally are. I don't like doing a ton of like airbrushing or anything like that. So if you got the nips, you know, just let them fly. It's all good. It's not like everyone's got nipples, so, you know, whatever. How do I raise my prices? This one is always like the hardest part of a photographer's journey in becoming a professional. Like discussing pricing and figuring out pricing is just different for everyone. There are kind of general rules of thumb, but I think the way that I best thought about it is how much do I value my time per hour, and then how much will the client value my time per hour? Those numbers are usually fairly different, but as you gain experience, you'll figure out what that more means to you. So I know when I started personally, I did so much work for free of all kinds. I didn't care. I had a full-time job and I really just wanted to like build a portfolio, and I was having fun with it. And over time, my shoots started to put a strain on my full-time job. So much so to the point where my time in between those two things became very small. And so my time shooting photography became more valuable to me. And thus I increased pricing. It got to a point where I eventually was able to quit my job. And it's been 4.5 years since I had an actual real big boy job. And I wouldn't go back because I like having a soul. What's the big deal of wedding photography? What's the big deal with you, huh? I'm so sorry, that was aggressive. I'm very scary. What's the big deal of wedding photography? I mean, it's like, it's one of the days that most commonly people hire photographers for, like in their whole life. Like when else, people don't have you come to like their random birthday parties usually, you know? I'm a wedding photographer, and sometimes like wedding photography is looked down upon in some sort. There's a lot of gatekeeping in the photography community, which is really cool. But yeah, it's a big moment in someone's life, and you get to capture that. There's a lot of stress that can come with a wedding day. There's a lot of things that can happen and go wrong, and you really get like one shot to capture like most of the moments. It does also pay well once you are experienced in navigating those things. So maybe those are some of the things why the big deal of wedding photography is. Yeah, portrait photographers. How do you keep your edits consistent when you have to change camera settings often? Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting question. You know, if you're shooting like a wedding, for example, like your whole day, you're getting changes in the sun, you're getting changes in lighting, indoors to outdoors, all that stuff. I think if you're able to kind of construct a tone that works throughout all of your photos, get the white balance to something neutral, and then have your colors be fairly consistent. Those are kind of the few big things to try to keep in mind. In Lightroom, you can use a comparison tool and kind of keep one image up and edit the rest to kind of look similar to that. But it also depends on what we mean by consistency, right? Does it look like it was taken by the same photographer? That's important. But otherwise, like, your lighting is gonna change, so your photos aren't gonna all have the exact same lighting on them, right? So just keep that in mind, and I think as long as your photos look like they make sense and aren't super over edited in a bad way, then I think that's perfect, you know? Does full frame make sense for non-professionals? I mean, if you have money, I guess it makes sense. The thing with full frame, generally speaking, typically the camera bodies are more expensive and the lenses are more expensive. They're also usually bigger and bulkier. Like, look, beep, beep. So this is a full frame body with a full frame lens on it by Sony. And this is a mirrorless camera too. It's not like massive. It feels really good in the hand. And then here's the APS-C version with an APS-C lens. And you can see the difference. Maybe it'll focus, maybe not, maybe. It really likes my face. Hi. It's so small. So yeah, I mean, just by a quick like side by side, you can see the difference. This is like considerably lighter than the full frame. Now, again, the depth of field isn't quite as good. Will you notice? Probably not, especially again, if you're not like in a professional setting, right? If you're a hobbyist, like, I would probably say like save your money, you know, get an extra lens or whatever you can do with that extra, sometimes thousands of dollars to get the full frame. It's just like, probably not worth it. And then if you decide like you're starting to see these limitations, you know, maybe a little bit, you know, better low light performance or whatever, then at some point you can upgrade. But like, start with the APS-C or Micro Four Thirds. Super light, super manageable, cost friendly, a lot of great benefits, and they take really good like photos and videos. So I don't know, I wouldn't stress about full frame when you're starting. How do I start and become better as a very young photographer? Like, how young? Are you like 5? Either, I mean, well, I guess either way, just start shooting. And I think the most important thing is just finding something that you enjoy taking photos of, and just take photos often. And if there's something that you want to learn, go on YouTube, look it up online. There's lots of resources now where it's like, you don't have to go to school for photography anymore. I didn't. And look at me now. But it's crazy to me, there's so many resources, and we all have, you know, cameras in our pocket nowadays that do some really great stuff. So it's like, just shoot stuff, practice, keep growing, keep looking for like ways to improve and things that you can do better and differently. Try to find your style, something that like speaks to you and the way that things are shot and framed, or the way that they're edited, something that's like consistent to say like, hey, that's a Josh Ford photo right there, so that is. Keep shooting, that's it, that's it. Keep growing, keep shooting, and when you turn 6, you'll be a great little photographer. That's like, man, I wish when I was young, I would have stuck with anything. Like, I started playing guitar when I was like 13, and I was like, man, if I started when I was like 6, just I could be great at something, you know? But nope, here I am. Had to learn it all as an adult. Anyways, that's some questions from Reddit that no one asked for answers from me. But you got them anyways, so hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Nice. Okay, well, go on. Get.